The air inside the space station was heavy. Lights flickered. Soldiers whispered. No one laughed. No one smiled. They were all waiting for her. When the prison doors opened, even the strongest guards stepped back. She was huge. At least 8 feet tall. Her skin was dark gray and cracked like stone. Her eyes glowed a strange yellow, like fire trapped in ice. She had long claws, sharp as swords. Chains wrapped around her arms, legs, and even her neck. 4 soldiers dragged her in, but she didn't fight. She just walked slowly, calmly, like a storm hiding under silence. Everyone called her the Death Beast of Zeruan. They said she destroyed 3 cities in a single night. They said she tore apart tanks with her bare hands, that she drank blood, that she laughed while buildings burned. But no one had seen her smile. No one had seen her cry either. They threw her into a special cage made of force fields and metal walls. A scientist scanned her from behind glass and whispered, "Look at those bones, not fully animal, not fully alien. What is she?" People came from all over the station to look at her. Some took pictures. Some threw food or trash at the cage. Others just stared, fear in their eyes. But one person didn't laugh or stare. A human soldier named Eli Ward walked by on his night patrol. He was a simple man, calm, quiet, and brave. His job was to guard the lower levels. That night, he passed her cage like usual, but something made him stop. Yes. That was her name, though no one cared, was sitting in the corner of the cage. She didn't snarl. She didn't growl. She just looked up at him. Her glowing eyes were not angry. They looked tired, sad. Eli blinked. He felt something strange in his chest. Was it fear? No, it was something else. He stared back. "Can you understand me?" he asked quietly, not really expecting an answer. She didn't move. He took a step closer to the cage. "I don't believe what they say. You don't look like a monster to me." Vara tilted her head slightly. A chain rattled. Suddenly, another guard yelled from down the hallway, "Ward, what are you doing? Don't get close to that thing." Eli stepped back and gave a nod. "Just checking," he said, trying to act normal. Then he walked away, but the image stayed in his mind all night. Those eyes, they didn't belong to a killer. They belonged to someone broken. The next night, Eli took the same path again. He slowed down near the cage. Vara was sitting in the same corner, still quiet, still watching. No one else was around. Just him. Just her. Eli looked at her again. "What did they do to you?" he whispered. She didn't answer. But this time, her eyes softened. "I wish I could help you," Eli said. Almost to himself, he turned to leave. That's when he heard it. Sound, soft, rough, like stones rubbing together. He turned around fast. Vara had spoken. One word. Just one. "Help." Eli froze. She could speak? "Did you just talk?" he asked, walking slowly toward the cage again. But she didn't say anything else. She lowered her head and closed her eyes. Then loud alarms began to blare across the station. Eli jumped. Red lights flashed. Over the intercom, a voice said, "Attention, all personnel. Prepare for transport. Subject number 013, the Zeruan Beast, will be moved to Lab Sector 4 for dissection and study." Eli's heart stopped. Dissection? He looked back at her cage. Vara had heard the announcement too. Her hands were shaking. Her claws dug into the floor. Her chest rose and fell fast. She was scared. That was the moment Eli knew. She was not a monster. She was just a prisoner, a living creature, hurt, alone, hated. And tomorrow, they would cut her open like an animal. Eli didn't know what to do yet, but one thing was sure. He had to do something, because no one else would, and because when he looked into her eyes, he didn't see a monster. He saw someone asking for help, and he was the only one listening. The station was silent after midnight. But deep inside the prison sector, A single light flickered. Right above cage 013, and inside that cage, something moved. Not the creature, not her body, but her lips. Help. The security camera blinked. The sound recorder crackled. But no one was watching. No one cared. Except for one man. Eli Ward sat alone in the guard room, staring at the audio feed. He had replayed the same 2 seconds a dozen times. Help me. The voice was rough, broken, scared. It wasn't the voice of a monster. Ali grabbed his jacket. He had to know the truth. The hallway was cold and dark as Eli walked down to the cage again. This time he wasn't just curious. He was desperate. Something inside him refused to stay silent. When he reached the force field door, Vara was already awake. She sat still, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. He stood in front of her cage. "You talked," he said softly. "I heard you." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then her head moved slightly. Her eyes locked onto his. "Others." "Don't listen," she said slowly. Eli felt his skin go cold. Her voice was low and broken, like she hadn't spoken in years. Every word sounded painful. "But I'm not like the others," he said. "Tell me, what are you?" She looked down at her hands, covered in scars and metal cuffs. "I was protector," she whispered. "Now, prisoner." Elila's heart pounded. This was no wild beast. She was someone. Someone with a past. With pain, he crouched down near the edge of the cage. "Your name, do you have one?" She didn't answer at first. Then, almost too soft to hear, she said, "Vara." Eli whispered her name back. "Vara, why do they say you killed all those people?" She stared at him. Her eyes didn't blink. "I ran to save children. From fire, from war," she said. "But your soldiers saw claws, not hands." Eli looked away. He remembered the orders. Subject is dangerous. Do not engage. Do not speak. Do not feel. But now he had heard her voice. And everything changed. "I believe you," he said. Her glowing eyes widened. Just a little. Then her voice grew weak. "Again, they will take me tomorrow. Cut, break, study." Eli clenched his fists. "Not if I can stop it." She looked at him confused. "Why?" she asked. "Why help, monster?" "You're not a monster," Eli said, standing up. "You're the only one here who's told the truth." Just then, loud metal boots echoed down the corridor. Eli stepped back quickly and turned to see another guard coming. It was Sergeant Trask Tall, angry and known for hating anything non-human. "What the hell are you doing here, Ward?" Trask growled. "Admiring the freak?" Eli straightened. "Yup, just doing a routine check, sir." Trask walked up to the cage and spat at the glass. "They should have killed this thing the day we caught it." Vara flinched. Eli's jaw tightened. "Maybe she's not what they say," Trask laughed. "Don't go soft, rookie. That thing's blood isn't red." Eli stayed silent. After Trask left, Vara whispered again. "I do bleed red, like you." "Eli." "Turn slowly. Then I'll find a way to prove it." She looked up at him. Hope. The tiniest flicker of it. And in that moment, Eli knew what he had to do. He would risk his career. Maybe his life. But she deserved the truth. She deserved a chance, even if the world feared her. He saw her, and she had spoken to him. The dreams came again. Flashes of fire, children crying, a giant shadow covering them. Vara woke up with a jolt, chains clanking around her wrists. But this time she didn't scream. She listened. Footsteps were coming, slow, careful, familiar. It was him. Eli. She didn't move as he stepped into the shadows near her cage. But her eyes followed him. He looked different tonight. Tired, angry, and holding something small in his hand. Piece of red cloth. It was soaked in blood. Not hers, his. He had been beaten. "What happened to you?" she asked quietly. I lay crouched beside her cage, ignoring the sting in his lip. "Trask happened." He caught me taking food for you. He said next time he'll report me. Vara lowered her head. You should not return. You will suffer. Alilai shook his head. Too late. I already made my choice. He pulled out a tablet and opened a hidden map. This station has tunnels. Old ones, some were sealed after the war. But I found a way that still works. Vara tilted her head, curious. Eli pointed to the map. Here's the main lab. That's where they'll take you for dissection tomorrow. But if I can unlock your cage tonight, we can slip into the lower shaft. No cameras, just darkness and risk. Vara looked at him. You trust me? He paused, then said, yes. She didn't speak for a moment. Then, slowly, she raised her arms and showed him the cuffs. Only I can unlock, she whispered. But I must be calm. These cuffs respond to my heart. Eli understood. If she got angry or scared, the cuffs would tighten. Hurt her, then. I'll keep you calm, he said softly. I swear. She stared into his eyes, searching for lies. But there were none. For the first time in years, someone didn't want to control her. He wanted to save her. Eli stood and looked around. I'll come back at 03:00 hours. Most of the guards will be asleep or drunk. He turned to leave. But Vara's voice stopped him. You should know, she said. If we escape, they will hunt you too. Eli smiled faintly. Then I guess we run together. Later that night, the storm outside the station grew stronger. Lightning crashed across the skies of Orbital Zone 9, shaking the walls. Most soldiers slept through it, except Eli. He slipped into the guard locker room, stole a uniform, and grabbed a small EMP chip, the kind used to knock out lights for exactly 5 seconds. He only needed 3. As he crept back toward Vara's cage, he saw something that made him freeze. Trask, standing at the end of the hall, drunk, holding a drink, talking to himself. Eli held his breath, stepped into a supply closet, and waited. 5 minutes. 10. Trask finally stumbled away, mumbling about monsters and glory. Eli exhaled slowly and moved fast. He reached the cage, pressed the M chip to the power panel. Click. The lights went out. For 5 seconds. The cage flickered. In that moment, Vara lifted her arms, took a deep breath, and whispered something in her native tongue. The cuffs clicked. Open. Her hands were free. The lights came back on, but it was too late. Vara was gone. She stood beside Eli now, hidden in the shadow of the wall. He stared at her hands. Even free, she didn't strike. Didn't run. She waited for him. Let's go, he said. And together, they vanished into the dark hallway. The escape had begun. Blood dripped on the floor. Not from a soldier, not from a monster. From Eli. He pressed his hand against his side, breathing hard. The cut wasn't deep, but it burned. The steel gate they had crawled under had sliced him when it fell. Beside him, Vara crouched low. Her hands shook, not from fear, but from something worse. Guilt. Double quotes. I made you bleed, she whispered. Eli looked at her. Even in the darkness of the abandoned lower tunnels, her eyes still glowed. But they weren't dangerous. They were full of sorrow. No, Eli said, catching his breath. That gate was old. It wasn't you. But Vara's claws were wet with blood. She hadn't meant to touch him. When she caught him falling, her claws had cut his arm by mistake. She had never touched a human before. Not like that. Not gently. Not to save. You still want to escape? Eli asked, voice low. Vara nodded slowly. Yes, but I will not let you die for me. Ayla smirked, despite the pain. I've made it this far, haven't I? A deep boom echoed above them. Alarms, voices, heavy footsteps. They had been discovered. Up on the main deck, Sergeant Trask roared orders. The beast is loose, and the damn human helped her. Soldiers rushed toward the lower levels. Drones scanned every hallway. Trask held up a large weapon. Next time I see her, I won't miss. He growled. Down in the tunnels, Eli and Vara found a door blocked by a fallen beam. It had once led to the emergency escape shaft. Their only way out. Now it was sealed by metal, fire, and time. Eli hit the beam with his shoulder, but it didn't move. Damn it! Vara stepped forward. Her claws extended. I will clear the path, she said. Eli stepped back as Vara grabbed the hot beam. Steam hissed from her palms as she grunted, lifting it inch by inch. Sparks flew. Her muscles tensed. Cracks appeared in her skin like stone breaking. You're hurting yourself. Eli said. Yo didn't stop. With one last growl, she threw the beam aside. The door creaked open. She collapsed to one knee. Eli rushed to her. Are you okay? She nodded weakly. I was made for battle. Pain is normal. But you're not at war anymore, Eli said. You're not a weapon. She looked at him, chest rising and falling. Then what am I? You're free, Eli said. But their moment didn't last. Behind them, red lights lit up the tunnel. A voice boomed through a speaker. Subject 013, surrender, or we open fire. Trask's voice. He was close now. Eli helped Vara to her feet. We have to move. But she turned around. She didn't run. She faced the soldiers. You go, she said to Eli. If I fight them, you can escape. No, he shouted. I didn't come this far to leave you behind. Vara took a deep breath. You are the first one who saw me. Not as a monster, but as someone. I'm not losing that someone, Eli said firmly. Suddenly, one of the soldiers fired. The shot flew past Vara and hit Eli's arm. He screamed, and then something inside Vara snapped. Her eyes blazed, her back arched, her claws extended, but she didn't attack. She stood over Eli, shielding him with her massive body. The soldiers stopped. No one moved, even Trask looked shocked. She was wide open, but she didn't attack. She was protecting a human. One of them. The room went silent. And in that silence, a truth was born. This creature wasn't what they thought. She bled. She protected. She loved. Back at command, a scientist watching the cameras whispered, She's defending him. Why would a killer do that? No one answered, because they had no answer. Only Eli knew. She wasn't a monster. She was Vara. She carried him, through smoke, through alarms, through fire, her stone-like arms wrapped gently around Eli's wounded body as she moved fast. Faster than anyone thought something her size could move. The station burned behind them. Traps closed. Steel doors locked. But Vara didn't stop. She was no longer running to save herself. She was running to save him. 3 minutes earlier, Trask had given the order, burn the tunnels if you have to. I want that thing dead. The soldiers sealed every path with firebombs, but they forgot about one route, the old waste tunnel leading to the ruined docking bay, and that was where Vara was headed now. Eli barely conscious in her arms. His head rested against her chest. He had lost blood. His skin was pale. But he kept whispering one thing over and over. Don't. Leave me. I won't, Vara whispered back, voice shaking. The heat grew stronger as they neared the tunnel exit. Flames licked the metal walls. Smoke filled the air. Suddenly, a support beam fell in front of them, blocking the way. Vara lowered Eli. Gently, her claws extended. She slashed at the beam once, twice, until it cracked. But she was slowing. The heat was melting her skin. Not fireproof after all. Then Eli stirred. I can walk, he said weakly, trying to stand. She turned to him. No, stay down. But you'll die, he said. She looked into his eyes. If I die saving you, it is better than living in chains. Eli didn't speak again. He knew he couldn't stop her. With one final push, Vara ripped the burning beam in half and threw it aside. The tunnel opened into the forgotten bay. They made it, but not alone. A voice echoed through the smoke. Step away from the human freak. It was Trask blaster aimed, face twisted with hate. Vara turned slowly, placing herself between Trask and Eli again. Her shoulders were burned. Her breathing was heavy. She couldn't fight now. Not like before, but she didn't move. She stood tall. Fear me. Because you don't understand me, she said. Trask laughed. No, I fear nothing, especially not beasts pretending to be people. He raised his blaster, but before he could shoot, a stun bolt flew from the side. Zap! Trask collapsed, unconscious. From behind the crates, a young medic stepped out. Mira, one of Eli's old friends. She dropped the blaster and ran to Eli. I saw the camera feeds, she said. I saw everything. She's not the monster, is she? No, Eli whispered. She's the reason I'm still alive. Mira looked at Vara, eyes wide with awe and fear. She needs help, Eli said. Can you get us out? Mira nodded. There's an old shuttle in Bay C might still work. Minutes later, the three of them reached the old shuttle. It was barely holding together, scratched, rusted and cold, but it started as the engines lit up. Vara looked out the window at the burning station. She had been taken here in chains. She was leaving it. With hope. Eli leaned against her shoulder as the shuttle took off. Where now? Mira asked. Eli looked at Vara. She gave a soft answer. Somewhere no one knows my face. Somewhere I can be me. Eli nodded. Then we'll find it. The station grew smaller behind them. The future. Unknown. But for the first time, they weren't afraid. She saw a flower for the first time. It wasn't glowing. It didn't move. It didn't scream. It just stood there, in the dirt, under the sun. Vara knelt beside it, reaching out with careful fingers. Her claws twitched. She didn't touch the petals, just hovered close, afraid she'd crush it. Eli watched her from a distance. She had once fought tanks. Now she was scared of a flower. They had landed on a quiet, farming moon, Leora 7, a place forgotten by most of the galaxy. No cities, no scanners, no soldiers. Just trees, grass, and peace. A kind old couple named Rena and Mako let them stay in an old storage barn. They didn't ask too many questions. They had seen enough war to know when someone just needed rest. Vara slept on hay. Eli slept nearby, and every morning, she woke up surprised she was still free, still breathing, still not chained. But peace brings a different kind of fear, one that whispers, you don't belong here. One night, Vara stood in front of a broken mirror in the barn. She looked at her reflection for a long time, the scars, the stone-like skin, the glowing eyes. She raised one hand and touched the glass. I will always look like this, she said. Eli sat up from his spot on the hay. So what? I'm not beautiful, she whispered. Not like the others, you know. Eli stood and walked closer. I don't care about beauty. She turned away. You should. He reached out, slowly, gently, and touched her back. She didn't flinch this time. You protected me. You carried me through fire. You could have left, but you didn't. He paused. That's beautiful. She didn't answer, but her eyes glistened. Just for a second, a single tear fell, and it was red, just like his. The next day, Mira returned from the nearby town with news. People are talking, she said, voice low. The station broadcasted your escape. Said the death beast fled with a traitor and a stolen shuttle. Eli's jaw tightened. So they're coming? Not yet, but someone might talk. We don't have much time. Vara was silent. She stood by the window, watching the sky. They will not stop, she said. Then we have to move again, Eli said. We'll find another place. Vara turned slowly. No, I won't run anymore. Eli blinked. What do you mean? She walked toward him, calm and firm. I know where my people are. Hidden, waiting, broken like me. Eli stared. Your people? Others like you? She nodded. If I call them, They will come. Won't that be dangerous? Mira asked. Yes, Vara said. But it's the only way, if they see me free. With a human by my side, maybe they'll believe the war is over. Eli hesitated. If you call them, they'll come in ships, weapons. The humans will panic. Vara looked him in the eyes. Then we show them. Peace is possible. She opened a hidden device she had carried all this time. Small, ancient, glowing with soft light. A beacon. She handed it to Eli. You press it, she said. Let your hands be the ones that bring them back. Eli looked at the device, then at her dot, then at Myra dot. He pressed the button. A beam of blue light shot into the sky dot, and in the far distance, something answered. A roar dot, deep, powerful, echoing across the stars. They were coming. The sky cracked. Open dot, not with lightning, dot, not with fire, but with wings. Dark, wide wings made of steel and light. Dozens of ships pierced the clouds, their engines growling like ancient beasts. The stars had answered. Vara's people were here, but so were the humans. Across the valley, Earth's military ships began to land. Soldiers poured out, guns raised, ready to end what they feared. Dot, above them all, the wind howled. Dot, and in the middle of the field stood one man and one so-called monster. Holding hands, Eli's heart pounded in his chest. But his grip on Vara's hand stayed firm. I should be afraid, he said softly. She looked at him. Are you? He shook his head. No. Vara turned her glowing eyes toward the sky as her people descended. Their ships were rough and scarred, their armor jagged, but their eyes looked just like hers. Tired, hurt, looking for home. They landed in silence, forming a half circle around her. The leader stepped forward, a towering male with red armor and long spikes across his back. Vara, daughter of fire, he growled. You live. She bowed her head. I do. And yet you stand beside a human? His voice was sharp, accusing. I do, she said again, louder this time. He looked at Eli with disgust. They hunted us, burned us, made us beasts. Vara stepped forward. He didn't. He saved me. A silence fell over the valley. Then Earth's commander walked out from his camp, gun in hand. Step away from the creature, soldier. Eli didn't move. She's not a creature, he said. Her name is Vara, and if you fire, you'll be starting a war you don't understand. The commander's hand twitched near his trigger. One wrong move, and the world would burn. Vara let go of Ayla's hand, and slowly, gently, she walked toward the Earth commander. Everyone aimed their weapons at her. She ignored them. Then, she did something no one expected. She knelt. Not in surrender. In peace. I'm not asking you to trust me, she said. I'm asking you to watch what I do next. Then she stood and turned back to her own people. Slowly she opened her arms. Unafraid. Look at me, she said to her kin. Look at my scars. Look at my hands. Look at my heart. She pointed to Eli. This human didn't chain me. He fed me. He listened. He protected me. Her voice grew stronger. If he can see me as more than a weapon, why can't you? The wind blew hard. No one spoke, until the red-armored leader of her people dropped his blade and knelt. One by one, the others followed. A deep silence filled the air. And then, Eli walked forward. He reached out. His hand touched her face. She closed her eyes, leaning into it. That one touch changed everything. Weeks later, the galaxy was different. A treaty was signed between Earth and the Vara's people. Scientists now studied the truth, not the lies. Eli and Vara disappeared from the public eye. Some say they built a house on a quiet moon. Some say they raised children who had her strength in his heart. But those were just stories. One thing was certain. The galaxy once feared her, but only one human saw her truth. And because of that, The war never came.